If you've clicked on this video, then you probably want to get into anime yourself and don't know where to start, or you're trying to get someone else into anime. Whichever one it may be, this isn't always an easy task. That is, unless it's my brother, of course. Then you can just show him Manga Sensei, and he's already down a path that no man walks back from. Regardless of what you're pursuing, today I've compiled a list of 10 anime that should lead you or someone you know down the journey into the anime jungle, where logic is absent and morals are suggestion. Keep in mind that there is satire in this, so take everything with a grain of salt. With all that said, join me as I give you my 10 shows to get anyone into anime. Alright, so I'm sure this one's a given. FMA Brotherhood is that one anime that some people seem to have trouble admitting that there are other shows out there that are just as good.
Still holding on! Let go! No! Wait!
Regardless of how biased this fanbase can be at times, this anime is my go-to recommendation to people who are looking to start somewhere but don't necessarily know where. There's action, drama, comedy, mystery, a little romance, and it's not too long, not too short. It follows two brothers, Edward and Al, who make an attempt to revive their dead mother, which backfires and leaves one bodiless and the other one with one arm and one leg. After these events, Ed becomes an alchemist and hopes to restore Al's body, and on this journey they run into quite a few bumps in the road. A big reason that I put this as my first to watch is that the show isn't too overboard with, well, anime tropes. The biggest hurdle faced when recommending anime to first timers is finding a show that isn't ridiculously long and that doesn't have too much of an anime vibe to it, if you know what I mean. Basically, there's nothing like this present. Patience. One day you'll be able to accept what you just watched. Remember, the goal here is trying to branch a Western's persona of cartoons from what they've experienced so far to what they can experience in anime, which is why FMA fits this spot to a T. Oh, and by the way, that's his sister. Now that you're fresh off beating the shonen genre's equivalent to a dead horse, it's time to tackle something a little unique. Death Note's take on the crime thriller genre is something that always entertains me. The amount of drama and buildup that this show has for the smallest things is a little crazy, and the best part is, it just works. The story follows Light on his journey into the darkness as he works to create a world that is free of injustice and populated with people who he deems honest and kind by killing those who don't fit his image. Thus, unsurprisingly, Light develops quite the god complex. This anime will start to introduce the unique approach of over-dramatization and the crazy plot elements that we all know and love. If you don't believe me, just try to explain the title My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute to your mom. Yeah, now you know why we have to ease into it. After finishing Death Note, you will most likely have an undying thirst that can only be quenched by consuming more shonen. What better way to solve this problem than by watching the modern Holy Trinity? I chose to include all three of these shows because any of them worked for the spot. Demon Slayer follows Tanjiro on a quest to kill the King of Demons and return his sister to human. Jujutsu Kaisen focuses on Itatori, who's the host of the King of Curses, as he tries to collect all of Sukuna's fingers and eat them to rid the king from the world. Attack on Titan follows Eren on his quest to understand his unique power and kill all the titans that exist in the world. Inevitably, his goal faces some challenge and changes. The point here is to show some modern shonen anime, to kind of showcase how the genre is growing and developing, with the fights getting bigger and the animation getting better. FMA and Death Note are some of the greatest of the past, but these three are currently airing shows that have become some of my all-time favorites. Now there's also the big three you could watch, but unless you got 900 hours of time you're willing to shell out, I recommend sticking with the modern version. Alright, so here we go.
This is where the fun begins.
So far you've experienced what I'll call the intro to shonen. Now that you've got your general education done, it's time to take this to the next level. Angel Beats is a good branch to the genres of romance, slice of life, comedy, what have you. It takes place in a type of purgatory for high school students who refuse to move on to the next life, because they have some sort of peace to make with the world and themselves. It's still got some shonen level fights in there, which is why I say it's a good anime to watch to branch out someone's taste. And I mean, where else are you gonna see a schoolgirl shooting a 50 cal? The answer's nowhere. Oh yeah, and this show's a great introduction into my favorite genre called shows that make your soul cry. Don't worry though, this is just an entry level show. We haven't got to the goods yet. Congratulations on finishing your first depressing anime. Now you're probably looking for something to fill the deep void, as you've now been made aware of how sad and depressing the world actually is. It's too bad that's not something I or anyone can fix. What I can prescribe you though is a great anime to make you forget about your depression and give you hope that a god will send you to Mordor after you die. Konosuba is an S-tier comedy that focuses on making a dick of a protagonist somehow likable in the fantasy world he has been reincarnated in. Yes, it's possible. In the show you'll follow Kazuma as he forms his Final Fantasy party of rejects. A misogynistic female crusader, a one-spell arch-wizard, and a rather useless goddess of water. This show is a great introduction to the comedy side of anime and gives a bit of a tease to what to expect from the more ecchi side of the industry. Hopefully you enjoyed your break from the sad stuff, because we're hopping right back in. A Silent Voice is a must-see animated movie with a story that will hit you harder than an isekai truck. It focuses on a teenage boy who in his elementary years bullied a deaf girl. After suffering severe consequences and growing up to realize the weight of his actions, he goes on an emotional journey to make amends and learn to accept himself. Since this is the first anime movie on this list, the goal here is to introduce you to the wide range of movies that do exist, from the Studio Ghibli films to Weathering With You or the more action-packed movies like Akira. Some side effects that you might experience after finishing this movie are a strong urge to turn on Kuko, sit in the dark, and contemplate the passing of time. But don't worry, we've all been there.
Time changed, we're different, but my mind still says redundant things.
Alright, so as a side note, as we move into the last quarter of this list, as a warning, this is where I get a little off my rocker. Anything past this point takes, a special kind of person to enjoy.
Are you winning, son?
Proceed with caution. On your journey to get into anime, you may have started to have a strange sensation. You may find yourself
attracted to the animated figure. Isn't that terrible?
Now this is a completely normal step along this journey, and to give people enough time to accept these feelings, I've waited to put this anime at number 7. Plus as a bonus, it's a nice change from the emotional roller coaster that was A Silent Voice. Date A Live is largely two things: an introduction to ecchi and Harlem anime. The concept of this show is a boy dates a bunch of godly spirits to keep their happiness up so that they won't accidentally destroy the world. Oh, and of course, they all happen to be high school age girls. I'm sure no one here is surprised. While a large majority of people out there may question my sanity and why I put such a degenerate show on this list, well, 1, this list is meant to showcase the voyage that an average anime viewer experiences in their lifetime, and I am just a mere guide to this journey. 2, if you're questioning this, you may want to stop and save yourself here, because it only gets better. Alright, I'm just going to be upfront with this one. Literally any anime Harlem show fits this slot. There are so damn many at this point. I don't have a distinct one to recommend to you. The main goal here is to add another Harlem under your belt before you move on to the next 2 shows. Normally, I lean towards Nisekoi 5-2-bun, and if you really want to get weird, Eromanga Sensei or Ori Emo works. Sister complexes, am I right?
Oh yes! Oh! Thank you!
What the fuck's wrong with people? Alright, we've reached it. The Holy Grail. High School DxD expands on the base you set watching Harlem anime by adding a little bit of spice to it. And by spice I mean tits. Yeah, so usually I just let people find the show on their own, but I'm trying to build a complete introduction into everything anime, so I feel a little obligated to share this with you. You're welcome. In all honesty, High School DxD has a really good plot. It's just that the plot happens to have a softcore hentai vibe to it. Look, I don't make the rules. God does. So if you're feeling a little down bad, go ahead. No one's judging you. Except maybe your mother, but that's between you and her.
And my pants slipped down a little when I was pulling them off. I am serious!
Congrats, you finally made it to number 10. You sailed through the Shonen Islands, past the mountain of comedy, pushed through the sea of depression, and journeyed through the forest of Harlem. And now you finally reached it, inside the temple, nuzzled in the middle of the forest.
What?
And boy, was that journey not worth it. To Love Ru is an experience to put it at best. It follows a high school boy who accidentally confesses to an alien girl, and they are thrown into a marriage. Rito also experiences an influx in the number of girls that would like to date him, from gender-swapping aliens to the sisters of Lala, the alien girl. The show sets itself apart largely with how self-aware it is, including many Harlem tropes. It also includes a lot of hilarious references of various medias from Halo to Rocky. It's like watching a parody of DxD, which is the main reason I put it after DxD on this list. If you happen to be my brother, you believe this show is a perfect 10. If you're me, you wonder just exactly how you ended up here, and why the sun seems to always be in just the right spot every damn time. The reason I list this out as the last of all the shows on this list is because this is around the time you realize anime is a very strange and broad industry, and not even the man who created it would have predicted that this might be the end result. Some of the shows on this list you may end up not liking, and hey, that is perfectly okay. My whole goal when compiling this list was to include a little bit of everything so that you can experience all the dimensions of anime. After all, it's such a large industry that you're not expected to like everything you see. My hope is that this video helped guide you or your friend on your quest into getting anime, and I apologize for getting a little parodic with the making of this list. But I still think it's a good guide if your goal is to see everything the industry has to offer. If you did end up enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this. Also, please feel free to leave your thoughts on this video in the comments. I tried something a little different than what I usually do, and I want to hear what you guys liked and disliked about it. With all that said, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next time.